Welcome, everybody, to the Analyst Desk. It is I, Jacob Moore, the self-proclaimed sports analyst, and I'm joined by Mr. More for your money.
Woo!
Action-packed show today. Of course, we
geez.
have the Grey Cup. Thank you, David, very much for the heart.
Means
and
a
we
lot.
got comments rolling in already, but we got the Grey Cup
Beautiful.
today, which kickoff is in an hour and 10 minutes. Roughly. I mean, obviously they'll have to probably won't be till about 10 after 6, but we'll probably log off by about 6 o'clock. So you have us the next hour and 10 minutes to break down
Get that chicken ready.
Game in Canadian football. And I gotta say, like, I'm very amped for this one today. But let's get
Here we go.
Dan is already trying to start the Gong Show.
Yeah.
Remember, if you do want to send us an email, send us one at the Analyst Desk Sports Show at gmail.com. And let's get right into these comments here. She's here. She doesn't have been because Pop is better. She's going to spear the TV if the game's a blowout. Hey, let's hope this game is not a blowout, Key. I'm not projecting this game to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a really close matchup, truthfully. Like, I think these two teams are very evenly matched.
Me too. I 100% agree with you, Jacob.
And let's frickin' go, or let's farting go, as we've just established that the F is for fart.
Yes.
Here at the desk. And I agree, David. Let's go. This is going to be a very, very entertaining matchup. Dan, I know you've been very excited. You actually stayed awake for the pregame show for what we watched on TSN. Yes. But how are you feeling right now about this game? Like, are you feeling pretty confident? How's it going, Mr. Dasko?
Hey, Mr. Dasko.
Smiling face. But how are you feeling right now, Dan? You feeling amped up? You ready to go?
I'm ready to go, bro. I mean, we've been waiting for this game all year. We've been traipsing at CFL games, watching them on the TV, listening to them on the radio, talking about them on the podcast, getting involved in the community. This is a huge season. I just got first start off the show with some great news. CFL Fights Cancer raised over $70,000 today for the Cancer Center in Winnipeg. So I just want to give a shout out to the team there. Wick, Connor, Nick, Catherine, Dallas, all of you guys. Was very honored to be a small part of it this year and part of the walk, and I'm amping up to get all ready for next year. Gotta thank guys like Randy and Ginger Argo for getting some great merchandise of the silent auction as well. And let's get all ready to raise $100,000 for next year.
Absolutely. Also, quickly, again, congratulations to the CFL Fights Cancer team. Raising over $70,000 is phenomenal.
Huge.
Quickly, thank you, Sam, very much for the like over on Facebook. We always appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And look, I think here, first of all, that's fantastic about CFL Fights Cancer.
My buddy from school.
Very, very awesome that's happened, that they were able to pull that off. And remember, I believe there still is time to donate as well. So let's see if we can push that number up even a little bit higher. But,
I think it's done for the year, but that's
there's always next year then. But even just all the awareness we've been able to spread is something that's awesome. Dan looks very excited about something, but that's okay. Oh, yeah. He's like, you know what he's excited for? Key's comment.
Yeah.
Despite all the tears of frustration all year, this has been a special in the CFL. It's truly a year you'll never forget. I agree. I think it's been an absolutely phenomenal season. Like, it's been very exciting. Lots of really entertaining football. And that's always the bittersweet thing about the Grey Cup, right?
100%.
It's that, number one, now you're stuck watching NFL football. And for me personally, I'm a bigger CFL fan than NFL fan, although it does look like we had some good games today so far in the NFL that I'm not going to watch. But you know what? It's the end to a great season, right? But I really feel this year we really did see, I think we do have the two best teams truly going head to head. You have Davis Alexander, who's undefeated, and he's been,
I don't know, bud. Hamilton was a pretty good team too.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Hamilton's offense was too inconsistent, and that's what killed them this year.
And BC started finished the year strong.
They did, but I would still say Saskatchewan's a better team than BC if you want my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
So I feel like the best two teams have got here. Now it's time to see what truly is it going to be. Davis Alexander, the young phenom, who again hasn't lost a game yet, although we don't know about that hamstring injury, or going to be Trevor Harris, who has never won a Grey Cup as a starter.
Right.
Would not answer if this is his final game ever in the CFL.
Well, I'm saying he doesn't know yet. Right? He has a big decision to make.
But quickly into the comments, absolutely, Lane, it is Grey Cup
Day.
And I think I don't know what the image is.
Supposed to be a Grey Cup.
To me, it looks like a dilapidated sock.
No, I think it's a cup that's gray.
And I believe Lane is saying they weren't when he's talking about Hamilton. I don't believe Hamilton was the best team in the East this year, no. And honestly, I think if Davis Alexander didn't injure his hamstring, I think Montreal would have won the East pretty easily.
Yeah,
Montreal, they really do. Interesting enough, though, Montreal, I think Austin Mack will be playing, although he's a game-time decision.
Return of the Mack.
Walking on the field.
What a catch he had last game, eh?
Yeah.
The hammer. Wow.
But Walter Fletcher Jr. is not playing. Instead, they have Travis Tice doing kick returns. And I think they're doing that just to try to give themselves a little more balance on the running game. Because, look, we don't know how well Davis Alexander is going to play. Lane feels Hamilton is overrated.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have to do a breakdown show with Hamilton. Hopefully we can get Rick on from Hamilton Sports Central to give us a hand on that one. He's always a great guest to have. But
100%.
Look, I look at this Montreal team, and I think Montreal has to find a way to make sure Trevor Harris can't read pre-snap as well as he normally does. When Trevor Harris reads the pre-snap, there's nothing you can do. And Trevor Harris is one of those guys that can really rip a defense apart. But Montreal runs the type of defense that's very hard to read. Dana, do you agree with me that that's a real key matchup for this one is going to be Trevor Harris pre-snap versus Montreal's exotic defense?
Well, 100%. I think that's a big part. But I think the part that everyone is underestimating here is what's both in common in these teams is these teams are both the best defensively teams in the conference. Whatever you argue Hamilton or Montreal in the East, there's no argument that Montreal is a better defense than Hamilton. And as a real proof that defense wins championships. So either way, regardless who wins today, is someone's defense, I think. Everyone's so big. I know the quarterback's a big feature story, veteran versus rookie. I get all that. But I really think the big story is going to be for defense.
Absolutely. And Key, I will be throwing in my picks towards the end. I realized I forgot to put it on the Keepo pick'em, which I need to get those in there. But
dude.
But look,
last minute, you kind of known for that.
I am. Hey, that's how I'm the leader of the pack. And David, what's the weather looking like there right now? Well, I mean, we did see the TSN panel finally put on all their parkas. It's cold, but it's warm for Winnipeg. I'll look up the actual forecast right now.
What, minus 15 roughly?
I don't even think it's that cold. Currently in Winnipeg, it is +2.
Why are we wearing parkas?
By game time,
it'll
be around, but it feels like it's +2 feels like -6.
Oh, it's not even that cold.
It's not that cold.
Oh, boo. Disappointed.
And Sam, I do agree with you, Sam. Absolutely watch out for the
Sam. My buddy from school, sports entertaining marketing at Seneca. Let's go.
And Lane, I do agree. It is sucked. It isn't as fun when your team isn't in it. Toronto's been in it the last 2 out of the 4 years. So like for us here in Toronto, hey, at least you got your team to make the playoffs, Mr.
That's why I'm wearing my Argo gear, right? I still feel like the Argos gotta be represented in Grey Cup weekend,
Believe it or not, the roads were a sheet of ice this morning, and it's above 7 in Edmonton. Wow.
I can believe that because the morning
is snow tires
the sun, right?
Get your snow tires on.
Yeah.
But Dan, when I was talking about really, it's Trevor Harris versus the exotic defense of Montreal. Like, if you're looking at that, I don't want you to give me a winner yet, but for either team, what do they need to do in that matchup? Like, is it all pre-snap for Saskatchewan? Is it going to be try to run the ball? What do you think Saskatchewan needs to do? And then I'm going to flip it the other way and say, what does Montreal need to do?
What, Saskatchewan need to do an offense?
Yes.
I think the key for Saskatchewan is my boy, AJ Ouellette. He is a tank. He is a missing. He got plumbing living in Trevor Harris's basement this week. He's ready to go, you know. For people that don't know, he's been taking an interesting wealth this year and living out of his camper van this year, which is a very unique way to spend the season. But of course, this week, because of the cold temperature, the water got set off. So he's in Trevor Harris's basement, the quarterback. But I think he's by far the best running back. I'll just call it by far the best running back in the CFL. He did get over 1,200 rushing yards on the ground this year. And he's like a square. Like, he's not very tall, but he's so huge a muscle. And so many running backs like are fast and you know, move up and boom, boom, boom. Oh, let this go right through the people, you know? And I think against Montreal is like big defense. That's going to be key.
I will say Montreal's defense against the run has not been nearly as good as it's been against the pass. So, Dan, I don't think you're out to lunch by calling it saying maybe this is going to be a running game for Saskatchewan. I'm going to get to the comments here, and then I'll give you my take. Dan, apparently the Battalion are looking for a new defenseman. So, Dan, if you're looking to become much younger and learn how to skate properly and play some junior hockey.
And lose 100 pounds?
Actually, it's one we'll have to talk about at a later date, too. There was a really dirty slash that David sent over my way in junior hockey. And it's something we definitely got to talk about with the suspension and all that. That'll probably be on I'll probably be a pre-record conversation, which will be coming out tomorrow. To Lane now, the passionate fan in me gives a lick when we make the playoffs. It's meaningless and a failure. I mean, I will never change my opinion on that. Lane, it is fair. When you make the playoffs, I think Hamilton was at least bare minimum this year. They were expected to make it to the Grey Cup.
I agree with that.
I do agree with you. I would actually consider this Ticats season if I wouldn't go as far as failure, I'll go as very disappointing.
It's a bust, sir.
The last time Montreal beat Saskatchewan, they did not have their starting DBs, and Montreal burned them. I think that will be absolutely. And remember, so that's going to be a big difference maker in this game because Saskatchewan is rolling out a fairly healthy defense. Yeah, so that's going to make a humongous difference in this one. And Key, I did put my picks on the page as I'm doing the show. That's how multi-talented I am.
Multitasking.
Saskatchewan is always going to say it needs to stop taking stupid penalties. Montreal needs to not be so aggressive. Well, their players hurt themselves and trying to take someone out. And I forgot, David, you're right. It is the Battalion defenseman who threw that terrible slash.
But I'm going to say this comment. When I started my ball hockey career in high school, I started as defense, but I was so good at scoring, I moved to the winger. But yeah, I can actually play defense, so I would be down for it. I have a wicked one-timer, as Jacob would know.
I am going to say for Saskatchewan, the key for this offense is going to be getting rid of the ball extremely quickly, which is something that Trevor Harris does very well, and he goes through his progressions very fast. I'm looking for this to be a lot of 7 to 15 yard plays is going to be what Saskatchewan tries to do, because the way Montreal, right? So picture Montreal's defense with their front seven. I am 7 people. So what that front seven do, they like to, even when they're faking a blitz, they like to jump in, especially the linebacking crew, and then pump back out. Right? Right? So what that gives you the ability to do, a lot of times the middle of the field is actually open because of this jumping and blitzing. Or, I mean, you get a linebacker from the side blitzing, and now you got about a 7-yard dig route open to either side. So Trevor Harris is going to be absolutely key for him to be able to read that very quickly, whether it's pre-snap or as soon as they make their move, that Trevor Harris can be aware of it. Trevor Harris, I would argue, is the best pre-snap quarterback in the CFL right now.
I would agree with you on that.
And
100%.
he absolutely is going to need to be able to use that to his advantage. I do think AJ Ouellette is another way to use that to his advantage. If they try to clog the box for AJ Ouellette, then maybe it's some screen passes, and get Ouellette into some open space. Or maybe it's some pitch runs. Or don't even forget about using Emelis in the running game with a bit of a jet pass, right? Which is just an extension to your running game, essentially. So look for Saskatchewan to try to manipulate their offense a little bit around this defense and just get Sankey the ball. Man, Darnell Sankey is an absolute machine.
He is. Wow.
He is going to be someone, if Montreal's defense takes big steps today, he will be the one that will absolutely be a difference maker in this one. But let's continue with the comments. We also have one from Mr. Lane Dashing Dashco. No, here I look at it. Making the playoffs is fun, but if you don't win, who cares? You will never remember if you. And I mean, you know what, though, Lane, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
no one
100%.
cares when you. Okay, this depends on the team. Let's say the Ottawa Redblacks made the playoffs this year. After last year, they get booted out in the Eastern semifinal. Let's say Ottawa gets to the Eastern final. Ottawa would consider that year a success.
Oh, look at the Argos, so they may have their Nick Arbuckle.
Like, I would say for Hamilton specifically, and I'm even going to call it, I think BC is not happy with the way the season ended. I think the
agree.
Lions
We're in the same boat as Hamilton
to get to the Grey Cup this year. Like, that was their goal. Where Calgary, for example, they went from being the worst team in football to almost getting to the Western final. I think Calgary will be happy with the progression. Toronto went from being a Grey Cup champion to the second worst team in the league. Toronto will be very disappointed. Right? So you really have to look at the season as a whole. But yeah, I do think for Hamilton, especially in that Eastern final game, I thought was very winnable. I think they were disappointed because that is when you're expecting. But at the end of the day, Montreal got it done. But now I do want to. You want to say something, Dan?
Yeah, I want to point out one thing to your point, Jake, about Saskatchewan's offense. I totally agree with you. And I think we may see some plays that are new, but we haven't seen all season, because Saskatchewan didn't have their whole wide receiver core healthy all year. And now going into the playoffs, into the Grey Cup, all those injured guys are now healthy. So I think we might see some really unique plays that we didn't see this season.
It's interesting. I do agree with you, Dan, but interesting what Key's saying too about kind of what I'm, between Lane and the comment sections and what I'm talking about here.
Yeah,
is it depends on the team. Like, for example, Key's saying if the Eskimos or the Elks, whatever you want to call them, made it to the playoffs next year, you'd be over the moon. And she's saying, Dan, you would disagree for some reason because you're not a fan of Mark Killam. Even though Killam, if he gets this Edmonton team to the playoffs next year, he's a hero.
As this me personally, I have no feeling no evidence of why. I just feel like he should have done better than what he did. You know, I give us a lot of drama and debacle with Trey Ford and Cody Fajardo, and I asked you, Sarah, why that drama even existed. I mean, Cody Fajardo is a former MVP Grey Cup winner. I don't think there was any dispute about him being the starter, but because of Trey Ford's creative offensively and swagger, they wanted him to be face of the league. Well, guess what? It didn't work, right? Whoa!
And look who's joining.
Whoa!
Mr. Lane Dashing Dashco. How's it going, Mr. Lane?
Kia. What's up, boys?
Hey.
Good to see you, good sir. Always happy to see you at the desk. What's amazing of Lane, he has somehow figured out a way to fit a desk in his Kia.
That's impressive.
Well, I don't have a lot of time. I just thought I'd come on and say hi, but I did just want to say, I don't know if you guys know, but I do have a tradition. And my tradition is when something big happens, I got to get the ultimate snack. And I know we're not sponsored by them, but I just got dropped off, and I got at the movie theater, I got my center shaker, and I got my large layered popcorn with the butter for the Grey Cup.
Nice move.
Hey, Grey Cup
Castle with the moves.
But Lane, then before I let you go, who do you think's going to win this Grey Cup today? You got the snacks loaded and ready to go, but what team do you think is going to be drinking out of the Grey Cup, and which team do you think is going to be drinking out of their reusable Brita water bottles?
It's going to be Davis Alexander. I actually think he's going to get this done.
Wow.
I think he's going to stand defeated. I think it's going to be I think it's just going to be him, man.
Going for the underdog.
I will say, if Davis Alexander pulls this off, he's going to go down in history no matter what, because his start in the CFL has been insane.
Imagine even if he loses, your first career loss is the Grey Cup. It's pretty impressive.
And here we go. Keith's talking about got the Buffalo Dip. Can't go wrong with the Buffalo Dip. I know for our Grey Cup meals, we always get Kentucky Fried Chicken in your neighborhood. But thank you very much, Mr. Dashko, for joining.
Yeah, I just wanted to come and say, hope you all enjoy the Grey Cup, and maybe if you guys are doing a post show,
we will be.
Oh, we'll be doing a post show.
All right, then I'll see you. I'll see you boys later. So happy Grey Cup watching. Should be a good game. So we'll see you later tonight, boys.
See you later.
Enjoy that popcorn.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Must be a dating Sunday for Mr. Dasko.
Yeah, we will be definitely doing a post show. And we're always happy to see Lane, as Key says.
100%.
I can't wait to giggle and dance when Olette gets sacked. So you're thinking Olette's going to get hit in the backfield a lot, is what you're projecting, David. That's interesting.
Yeah, Olette's my boy. What do you have against Olette? I'm listening. Sounds like he's Fraser Crane down in Seattle.
But I want to flip this around, though, since we kind of talked about what Saskatchewan's offense. Dan, I'm going to let you go first, Mr. Moore.
360, yo.
And what do you see Montreal's defense? What's their key to this game?
Oh, boy. Well, Montreal's defense is extremely aggressive, right? And I think that's their key. I think their key is going to attack through Saskatchewan's O-line, which is not going to be an easy thing to do. But I think that's what they're going to try to do, because Trevor Harris, as legendary as he is, he's not the most mobile quarterback around, right? So I think your key, like Trevor Harris is phenomenal for getting the ball off quick and accurate. But when it comes to moving around, not legendary for that. So if Saskatchewan's pocket does collapse, he may be in trouble. I think Montreal is one of the very few teams in the CFL that can collapse Saskatchewan's pocket. So I think they're going to do a full-blown blitzing and attacking the pocket and try to get as many sacks as possible. Like what someone said at TSN panel, I think it was Zach Claros that said it. That's really funny enough. A sack is almost like a turnover. At time you lose all those yardage, right? So I see Montreal sacking as much as possible.
We're getting some more Fraser references in here. Fraser's a walking disaster, but Marty Crane would definitely predict every play this whole game correctly. Yeah, Marty Crane.
He would, 100%.
Fraser.
Yeah, Fraser Crane wasn't a sports guy at all. Marty Crane for sure.
I am going to say here, when I'm looking at Montreal's defense, when this team has had the most success, it's when they create turnovers with chaos. Yeah. So what they're going to have to do, I think they're going to have to double down on the exotic plays defensively. And they're really going to need to, like, I would literally load up the line with 8 and rush 3. Like, I'd be trying things like that just to try to.
It's kind of the opposite I'm saying.
Yeah, I really think the key is going to be, or then there's other times only have 3 on the line and then have the whole front 7 attack. Like, I really do think it's all going to be about trying to get Trevor Harris off his game. Because if Trevor Harris is on his game, this could end up being a bit of a struggle for the Montreal Alouettes. Although, like I said, these are, in my opinion, these are the 2 best teams in the Canadian football. Like, I feel both these teams deserve to be here. Yeah. Montreal had the harder road to get here because Winnipeg gave them everything they had in that East semifinal.
Oh, they did. I mean, I gotta give
Winnipeg great. And I mean, I think Zach Claro showed he's certainly not ready to retire yet. Yeah. But now I want to flip it to the other side here. We know Saskatchewan has one of the top rated defenses in the league. They create a lot of turnovers, and they find a way to make the big play, get the big stop. They're even willing to punt in situations where no other teams will because they trust their defense so much. Davis Alexander, on the flip side of that, he is a guy that when he is going on all 4 cylinders, I'm calling him a 4-cylinder until he wins a Grey Cup. Maybe a 6-cylinder. Maybe a 6-cylinder.
He just got boost, bro. He's got that beat kicking in.
I'm really looking to see like that matchup. And Dan, what do you think Davis Alexander needs to do? And then we'll get to some comments again. What do you think Davis Alexander needs to do in this one to try to pick apart this very good defense?
Well, David Alexander, we talk about the difference between Hall of Famer veteran, and rookie. But the other difference between those two is they're both amazingly quarterbacks, but they're completely different. Trevor Harris is all about quick, accurate throws. David Alexander, I think he's going to flip the field. He's more of those big, bombing, explosive plays. And they're kind of 50-50 shots, right? If they don't work, it works in the interception. But when they work, boy, you're flipping the field, you're flipping the game, you're moving a chains, you're flipping a whole drive around. And I think the other thing with Mr. Alexander is he's got to be hot on his feet. He's a young guy. He's mobile. He's got to run around out there fast. And Saskatchewan's a big, heavy defense, so they're going to have a hard time chasing a young guy like David Alexander, right? Running like 10, 15 yards a play. So I think with David Alexander, his key is being hot on his feet and flipping the field with the big bombs, booms, as I say.
And absolutely, Dan. I do agree with you in a lot of ways of that. Davis Alexander certainly has the arm strength to do it. But let's get some of these comments here talking about Trevor Harris. Harris does like the little bullet pass. He does. Like that's with the screen game. That's what I'm saying. Not like mid 7 to 15 yard play. He's quick. He's so quick at making reads. He's not quick on his feet, but he's so quick at making those reads. Honda loves you too. I guess you don't like smooth rides, but a 69 Monte Carlo is the best V8 vehicle.
That's one of them, for sure.
Out of my 3 vehicles, 2 of them are V8s.
That's right.
So there you be. But when I'm looking at Davis Alexander and what he needs to do in this matchup, I'm looking for Davis Alexander. You're talking about, Dan, him taking the big shots. I'm actually looking for him to not take the big shot when it's not there.
Yeah, when it's not there. That's why I say it's 50-50.
He likes to try to fit balls in the tight windows, and Saskatchewan's defense is the type of defense that will create turnovers. So let's make sure, if you're Davis Alexander, that you're able to, be smart with the football and not do that critical turnover. And I think it's going to be Jason Moss's short play, screen, run, play action to a short play action to a short play. And if all those work, then bomb the ball downfield.
Yeah, I can see that. So maybe because yesterday was able to get punt and you started at the 20-yard line, right? They're going to do short plays from 20 to 55. We can still say 55 for now. It's 110 yards still. 55-yard line. And once you get to your 55-yard line, then you're going to see a big bomb between 30 and 50 yards. Is that what you're saying, Jacob?
Yes.
Yeah,
100%. That's where I'm looking to see Montreal try to make Saskatchewan play in a little tighter and then try to flip the field.
Because, worst case, let's say you throw a big bomb at the 55-yard line, right? Worst case, if it gets intercepted, if you can tackle the guy right away, it's basically a punt. Worst case.
It is and it isn't, though, because there's more momentum, I feel, when your defense gets the ball that way.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree with that.
But now I want to flip it around again. Flip it on its head.
Let's flip it all day here. Flop.
And let's look at Saskatchewan's defense. And Dan, I'm going to let you go first again. And what do you feel Saskatchewan's defense needs to do to try to limit Davis Alexander doing what he's been doing all year?
Well, I think you just kind of led into my point here when we're talking about the 50-50 bombs. I think Saskatchewan's got to win the turnover game. You look at so many Grey Cup victories in the past. I mean, the Argos' last 2 Grey Cup victories in the last 3 years, they won it off the turnover game, right? And not just turning over, but creating points on turnovers. And you look at the, other situations, can't think of the top of my head, but other situations where that happened too, right? So I think they got to create the turnover game when Alexander, I think he is going to get a little cocky. I really do. I think he's going to get cocky. He's going to throw a big 50-50 shot at the wrong time. And when he does, it might only happen once in the whole game. But when he does, got to make that pick, and you got to turn it into 6 points. Regardless if it's the defense running back all the way to a touchdown, or if you take the knee and Trevor Harris does his masterpiece, whatever the case may be, you got to get 6 points off that turnover. I think the other big thing for them is, like I said, very big, heavy defense. Alexander will be running around a lot. So it's going to be tough for him to sack Alexander, I think.
Will he be running a lot, though?
Probably.
Will he be running a lot, though?
I think he will be.
with
Yeah,
that hamstring
I mean,
injury.
he hasn't lost a game in his whole career. Why is he going to change now?
True.
You know, so I think I think it's key for him to get some sacks and get the pressure on Alexander. He is a young quarterback. This is his first Grey Cup. Make him nervous. Make him scared. You know, you got a hamstring in this industry in the background. Make him scared of that. You know, get this something going. That's the
And
key.
we'll get into the comment section here, and then I will give my thoughts on this. And normally conservative sports wins championships, but I feel with Alexander, you got to keep trying to get those sacks. Otherwise, offense, you're going to have to score on every play. So that's Key's thoughts on this. And Sam here, I'd be scared to play man coverage on the outside against Alexander. That's another very good point. 100%. So the way I look at it, Dan, I'm a little bit like you, but I'm a little different as well.
Okay.
You're saying to blitz Alexander a lot.
Yeah, dude.
I'm saying do what's worked all year, rush 4, but get to him anyways.
Oh, interesting.
If you're able to get to the quarterback of only rushing 4, then you really have a very strong chance of covering everyone. When you got to start rushing 5 or rushing 6 to get to him, there's going to be a hole in a coverage because you're
if he gets it off,
which is going to leave someone open.
Right.
But if you can get to Alexander and get him running around, and potentially, let's be honest, if Alexander is hurt, you might have to see McLeod Buffalo-Thompson come in. Then your defense has to change drastically because he's a completely different quarterback than Davis Alexander.
100%.
Not that to happen. But I'm just looking that I really like being able to get there at 4. And yeah, Sam, as you say, the reason why the rushing 4 can work so well is with that hamstring. Right. It's not like he's going to necessarily want to roll out of the pocket a lot unless maybe he does to show that his hamstring is fine. And I could see Alexander maybe pushing it just a little too hard. So, and I tell you one thing, if he ends up getting hurt in this game, everyone's going to question him coming back against that one game against Toronto where he re-injured the hamstring in week 8 or 9.
I called it. I see that victory was cute because, you got the 2 points at the time, and that's cute, and you kept the winning streak going. That's cute and all fine and dandy. But if you do make it to the Grey Cup, it could cost you. And here we are, right? So let's see if it does cost them or not.
Yeah, it is very interesting to see that. But yeah, I think this really could end up coming down to which quarterback can, make the big, can Davis Alexander make the big play in the big moment.
Will we see Alexander be like Nathan York a few years ago when he collapsed in his first playoff game? I don't think we will because Dave Alexander has not collapsed in Hamilton and certainly did not collapse in Montreal against Winnipeg. So I don't think he will collapse. But, I mean, this is the biggest stage of his career right now. It's a possibility. We didn't think Nathan York was going to collapse at the time either, and he did.
True.
So we'll see what happens.
But, I'm curious, though, Dan, here, when you say that, do you think that he's not going to pull the Chad Cowley just because he has that extra experience? Or do you just see something different in Davis Alexander than a Chad Cowley?
No, I don't think it's that extra experience. He doesn't have that experience. I just think I don't know how to put it. David Alexander, I think, is strong mentally. I don't like the fact that he's so cocky against everything. And I think, if anything, I think more so than his mental game, I think it's his cockiness that could hurt him, right? With Nathan York and Chad Kelly, as much as I love Chad Kelly, it was the mental game that got to them in their playoff collapses, right? We can all admit that. With Alexander, I think he's got the mental game down pat, but I mean, maybe I'm old school, I don't know, but I don't like the fact that a young rookie who hasn't really won anything yet is so cocky, not just to his teammates and to veterans on the other team and to the fans. I'm like, well, we haven't really earned anything yet. So I think, if anything, if it does go sideways, I think it's going to be a momentum ship and cockiness. I think he'll make a really good big play and get all cocky and get in Saskatchewan's skin the wrong way. And then Saskatchewan's going to explode for next play. That's what I think.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, though, right, to see which if Alexander can not make the mistake. Because, I mean, he has looked so solid.
Oh, he has, but I don't know. Even like in the Grey Cup week, in media week, we've been saying all week, Montreal say, oh, we're guaranteeing a win. And, oh, we should have been there last year when the Argos won. And, oh, we're building a dynasty since Winnipeg fell apart, But it's not just Alexander, it's a whole team. But I don't know, Saskatchewan, their whole veteran presence, I think it's going to come back and bite them.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, right? I am interested to see how these guys end up doing. But let's get back into the comments here. We got another comment from Sam.
Yes.
Saying Montreal playing close to the line on defensive plays well against the run and short pass for Harris. Now, interesting enough about that, Montreal has actually struggled against the run at times this season. Their pass defense is a lot better than their run defense. And maybe that's where you do see them. Maybe that's the exotic change. We see them really focus on stopping AJ Ouellette and forcing Saskatchewan to beat you with Trevor Harris's arm. Now, the problem is, I'm just going to be honest here, I don't even know if that's what you want.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Most accurate quarterback in CFL history. I mean, yeah, maybe he hasn't fallen as many big bombs as like Alexander or Zach Carrero, so Bo Levi, but he is the most accurate in history. I think it's even a bigger challenge than the strength, really.
I mean, the thing is, when it's tough, right? I would say, like, neither one of these teams necessarily have a weakness on the defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's get back to the comments again. And sorry, I lost there's my mouse.
You lost it.
That's why I'm not a coach. Hey, you know what, though? But you do have an interesting point, though, Sam. And yes, Saskatchewan on offense is scary. And that's the thing with this. It's that both of these teams really have the ability of making plays on both sides of the field. Now, I'm curious, though, Dan, you've talked a lot about AJ Ouellette. What about Montreal? Do you see Scott having a big game? The guy's been an absolute tank.
I was going to say, I don't know, I didn't know when I was going to say this, but I was going to say this too. That's the big surprise of this game. I think Scott is the huge underdog for the Grey Cup. Everyone's talking about Alexander. I think Scott's going to have a humongous game. I mean, he was for first string running back at the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
And here we are going into the playoffs against Hamilton. Jacob and I were at that game, Montreal and Hamilton in the former donut box, and he exploded the running game, getting over 100 yards on the ground. And I think Hamilton did not expect it because no one really knows anything about the Scott guy, right? And I think with Saskatchewan's defense, it could be a problem for them because what film is there to watch? Maybe last week, and that's about it, right? So not much studying to do with someone you don't know as well, someone younger and stuff like that. I think he could be the big black sheep at the Grey Cup kind of thing this year. I think he's going to explode on offense. In fact, we were watching the pregame on TSN. We're talking about fan duels over and under, and we're predicting Scott to be his over under only be around 46 yards. I'm like, I'm totally taking the over on that one. And another person, TSN, as an underdog MVP, picked Scott as well. And he has a 1 to 10,000 odd of winning MVP of the Grey Cup. So that could be some good money right there. I know everyone's saying if Montreal wins, it's David Alexander. And yeah, I get that. But let's say Montreal wins and David Alexander gets injured with the hamstring, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, technically his record would still be like 12-0 or 13-0, whatever it is. But if that happens, and even if Bethel Thompson comes in, he's kind of more of a running style quarterback. You look at that year when AJ Ouellette had a legendary time with the Argos, it was with Bethel Thompson as quarterback. Same with Andrew Harris, right? So I think Scott's going to have a really big game here. It's going to be a really big underdog for the Grey Cup.
Oh, David's pointing out, though, we can't forget about Man Bun Kelly.
Yeah, that's right.
As I like to call him, because I'm a big Eminem fan. But yeah,
but seriously, I give the CFL
credit. MTK should be a good show.
I think it will be. I give the CFL credit. I got someone current, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I love seeing Green Day. That's like we saw Green Day live when we were in the Grey Cup for Donor Box a couple years ago. And that's going to be on my bucket list, one of my best time concerts I've ever been to. I love Green Day. But, Green Day's been haven't really done anything past 20, 30 years, right? So I think it was important that the CFL get someone current. And Machine Gun Kelly,
Never mind just someone current. He is on NF just dropped a new album on Friday, one EP. And MGK's on this EP. And Dan, I don't know if you know this, but this EP had over 8 million streams in under 24 hours.
That's nuts. Wow.
And that song was one of the biggest streamed songs on the EP. So MGK is extremely relevant. And who knows, maybe we'll get NF in there too, which that would just blow up the internet.
Very cool.
I doubt it, but
yes. No, it's like I give CFL a lot of credit. I think they did the right thing here. And even though I don't like what Machine Gun Kelly has done recently, I'm not a fan of his new style going country and everything. It does fit Winnipeg. It does fit the Western style and all that, football style, Canadian style, all that kind of thing. And yeah, I give him a lot of credit getting someone current. So good on the CFL for doing that.
No, absolutely right. I think it'll be a good show. I mean, I've seen a lot of mixed reviews about him being there. And
okay, let's put it this way: I don't know why it's so controversial, but having MGK is less controversial than Bad Bunny, right?
I'm sure.
Like I don't know why everyone's so upset about Bad Bunny being. I think Bad Bunny was a good choice, but we haven't seen as much uplast about that. So good on CFL.
Absolutely. But yeah, I think MGK will be a very good show. But I'm curious, Dan, though, with that, I want to kind of now compare the two quarterbacks in this one.
Okay.
So we have Trevor Harris in the regular season, 4,549 yards, 24 passing TDs to 11 interceptions, completion percentage of 73.6. Davis Alexander, mind you, started a lot less games. So 2,024 passing yards, 10 TDs to 3 interceptions at 72.5 completion rating. Do these quarterbacks almost balance themselves out if they're both going?
On paper, if you're looking on just stats, yes. I think the big difference is going to be like momentum and attitude and that kind of experience, because David Alexander has been incredible. Nothing, no denying that. But Trevor Harris is a 13-year vet. He's won two Grey Cups, right? He's done all this, right? Trevor Harris is a future Hall of Famer.
I don't think we're going to get Uncle Dougie up on stage, but...
Oh, wow. That would be something. Especially not in Winnipeg, you know. Was it Toronto? Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. But Winnipeg, I don't think he's going to be in Winnipeg.
But yeah, I do agree with you, Dan. I think experience could be a difference maker on what makes this more, how do I put this? Like it could give Trevor Harris that uptick in theory. But the other thing is Saskatchewan's barely seen Davis Alexander.
Right, exactly.
Because remember, the last time these two teams faced, it was with MBT.
Right. And their offense is completely different when MBT's in there versus Alexander.
Exactly. So that's why I'm very curious to see how does Saskatchewan team up against Davis Alexander, right? And as much as I'm not the biggest Davis Alexander fan, he has had an incredible season.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's going to be the big one. Like if anything, I do actually think these quarterbacks could almost cancel each other out. And I think it may come down to the receivers and the running backs that really make a big difference.
Yeah, I could definitely see the running backs, like, even though, again, is kind of like veteran versus rookie, even in running back, right? Because Scott coming into this was the third depth running back, and AJ Ouellette is their franchise running back. He's the highest paid running back in the league. He has won Grey Cups with the Argos. He led the CFL over 1,200 yards on the ground this year. He's into wrestling as well. He's all big supporter of men's mental health. Like he's like a big celebrity for the CFL, right? And when you talk about star players in the CFL, besides of the quarterback, that's probably your first choice you're going to be thinking of, right? And he's that big of a celebrity. Versus Scott, everyone's like, who's Scott, So I think it's good. I think what we said about the quarterback between these two teams are very similar to the running back, but I don't see these running backs canceling each other out. I think whoever dominates the running back game, whoever gets over 100 yards on the ground, I think is winning this Grey Cup.
And here, back to the comment section, too. These two quarterbacks facing off is going to show off the high-action pass game that makes the CFL an awesome league to watch. 100%. I do agree with you, Sam. I think we are going to really see that from both these guys is, 100%. It's going to be watching two very, very, very high-end quarterbacks.
Yeah, 100%.
And just to kind of quickly go over these quarterbacks a little more in depth, like, and actually, before I'm going to answer my thing on the running game, though, and say, Dan, I don't think these running backs will cancel each other out. I personally think Saskatchewan has a huge advantage.
Yeah,
I think he's what Stevie Scott wants to be, not the other way around.
I would normally agree with you, but we were at that game.
I don't care.
With Hamilton versus Montreal, and Scott really dominated against Winnipeg of all teams.
Doesn't matter to me. To me, I think that AJ Ouellette is by far the better running back. I think Scott will have a good game, but I think if AJ Ouellette can kind of do what he wants, it'll be a huge factor. But I want to look at these two quarterbacks side by side here.
Oh, I lost my face.
And I'm curious about. We don't
I
need
really
to see
lost
our
my face
right now, Dan.
What?
When we look at these two guys, like, you really are seeing, right? Like what I'm saying, why I think these two quarterbacks might cancel each other out.
100%.
Now, these are regular season stats, mind you, but still, it's like, you know what you have? The only thing is Trevor Harris, I would say, is a lot more proven than Davis Alexander. So that may be the only.
That's the only thing separating these two. They're that close. Even the completion ratio is only off by 1.1%. Actually, no, under 1%, I should say. So
that's what I mean. It's not even. It's 0.9% difference on the completion rating. So it's not like it's.
And even touchdown to interception ratios are pretty close because Trevor Harris has done in a lot more games versus Alexander, right?
Exactly. Like, I really am curious to see how these guys are able to compete in this one. And I will say the only thing Trevor Harris hasn't proven yet is one time he started in a Grey Cup in 2018. He didn't play that well.
Correct. Yeah.
So, and you can almost argue both of these guys are unproven when it comes to a CFL final.
That's true. I mean, Trevor Harris does have 2 Grey Cup wings of there as a backup.
But there is one area of this game that I want to talk about a little more in depth, and this might be weird to talk about this area so much in depth, but I'm going to do it anyways.
Okay.
The kicking game.
Yeah, that's a good one.
We don't know what Brett Lothar we will see.
Mm-hmm.
Brett Lothar is either great or he sucks. I think that's pretty fair to say.
100%. I agree with that.
Well, Maltos, this will be his first Grey Cup game, mind you, but Maltos Diaz has been very good this year. He had he had 6 walk-off field goals already heading into the postseason. He's also led the league with 58 field goals and finished 3rd in percentage with 89.2% accuracy rating. Well, Brett Lothar is kind of the other way around, right? Like Brett Lothar, he's been better of late, but he's really struggled at times. So, Dan, I'm going to ask you, does this go into the mind of Saskatchewan if maybe they're your 3rd and 5 at Montreal's 30-yard line? Are you more apt to go for it if you're Saskatchewan than maybe you are if you're Montreal because one kicker has been so much better than the other one?
1,000%. We've been kind of tiptoeing here. What team's better? What team's worse? There's no dispute when it comes to the kicking game. Even though Saskatchewan has the experience, I think 1,000% Montreal's got the better kicking game than Saskatchewan. And I think if we do see a tight game, that could be a huge difference maker, right? I think if you're Saskatchewan, you're 3rd down in a 50-50 situation, you're probably going for it. Versus Montreal, you are totally safe and confident in taking the 3 points because 89% of the time you are getting those 3 points. and you're trusting your defense to make a 2-play stop, right?
So to put into perspective, Brett Lothar has the worst kicking percentage in the CFL when you combine convert kicks and field goals. He's hitting 72.2%. Now he does have a long of 59. But to put in perspective, your next worst is Lewis Ward at 76.1, who also struggled. Then you have a rookie in Edmonton and Richard Blanchard at 77.8. Rene Paredes, who had a bad year for him at 82.4%. Castillo at 85.7. Lermo Halahu, which made the most field goals this season at 89.1. Then you get to Motez Dios, who is, right up there at 89.2%. Right. And this guy has also hit a couple from over 50. He's been super accurate. He's been super clutch. The only guys who have really been better than him are Sean White and Mark Leggio.
And even though versus his first Grey Cup, he's not a rookie. He was great last year too, right?
When he had to come in, yes.
When he had to come in 100%. And he has a quiet confidence about him. That's what I know. He does the whole muscle flex, but I think that's still pretty cool. Like, I actually really like him, and I think to put it in perspective, this is such a bad situation with Saskatchewan. We didn't see any trades at the deadline in CFL this year, but we almost saw one where Saskatchewan was willing to give anything to Toronto for getting Halahu out of the Argos. That's how big of an issue this is. Like, as we normally don't see trades in the CFL, but this was such a big issue, we almost did see one. But the Argos Pinball, we know Pinball is the gentleman of the league. He asked Halahu himself what he wanted. Would he rather stay in the city he calls home in the six, the Argos? He's been in the Argos, his second stint in the Argos, been here a long time. Or would he have a chance of a Grey Cup? And he said he would rather stay as the Argos. The only reason why a trade didn't happen.
But interesting enough here, David's saying, I guess he's just watching the TSN broadcast while listening to us, our audio, I'm assuming. You want to hear our beautiful voices. That Corey Mason is in his sweats right now, and he's nervous. That's interesting because Corey Mason is usually like stone cold Steve Austin. Like, he's very very.
Isn't this his first Grey Cup coach?
As a head coach, yes.
Yeah,
he was the DC when the Argos won in 22.
Right, yeah.
But I mean, Corey Mace has been a huge factor for this team. But what is going to hurt Saskatchewan a lot, and I'm assuming you already know this, but Keyshawn Johnson is not in the lineup for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, that's huge.
And there's another receiver who's out as well. And so you're going to see Mitch Picton and a Joe get back into the lineup. Now, remember, Mitch Picton is a local boy. But I'm really, just to put in perspective of Keyshawn Johnson this year, he had 1,159 yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 over 30 yards, and averaged 13.5 yards per play.
He's a game changer, right?
He's a game changer for this offense, right? And that's going to be a big loss for them losing him. Now, mind you, they're so deep at the receiving core. I'm going to call this out. I don't think this really hurt. I think this would have hurt them more if they lost AJ Ouellette than if they're losing, just to put into perspective on key players, than Keyshawn Johnson, because Trevor Harris is the type of quarterback. He seems to work with any kind of receiving core.
Yeah, he does.
Which is so critical.
Look at Tommy Neal, who had on the big old chart that Tommy Neal was going to be BC in the last 15 seconds, right?
Which was a catch, by the way. And we've already gone into that discussion on a previous episode.
Well, I think you found out, Jacob, that the owner kind of faked that whole picture, did he?
We didn't necessarily fake it, but it turns out the picture, most people believe, wasn't even the same catch, and I don't think it was either. But let's get back into the comments here. And Sam, I believe that Alexander was a rookie, played in Saskatchewan on the road, and won because their kicker missed like every kick. You are correct. Mm-hmm. It was a close game, so I totally agree with you guys. Yeah, I will say this, and I'm not giving my prediction yet, even though if you're on the Kepo page with me, you know my prediction. I will say this. The longer this game stays close, the better advantage it is for Montreal. I said that in the game against Hamilton. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying Saskatchewan can't win a close game. They certainly can. But I think for Montreal, they can't get down big early. I think they have to... They have to make sure it's within 10 points for as long as possible.
Boy, like we saw that when we were in the donut box at a Hamilton Montreal game, we literally witnessed that, right? Like the first half was great defensively, but for offensive, could almost argue it was boring. I think it was like what they had like 6 points in the whole first half. Like they were playing so tight, it was crazy.
Yeah, I really think this game could come down to as close calls as like the kicking game, which you don't know what Lothar you're going to get. He's been good of late.
Yeah.
He's been good of late.
I'm nervous if I'm Saskatchewan and it comes down to a kick, especially in Winnipeg. As you pointed out, Jacob, Winnipeg's an outdoor arena. Mm-hmm. And being mid-November in Canada, Winnipeg, you're going to have a wind chill. That's going to affect your kicking. Versus if the Grey Cup was in BC, being an indoor arena, maybe you're not going to be as worried as Lothar as your kicker, right?
I will say one thing. I can't wait when the CFL gets a new website, because right now I cannot even pull up playoff stats on their website.
The website is coming, which was great news. Interesting interview. We get a chance to watch that chat with the CFL commissioner on Friday. It's about 50 minutes, and the reporters are asking a lot of repetitive questions, so I would skip that part of it. But if you watch the first, 20 minutes of him just, it's true, Jacob. If you watch the first 20 minutes of him just talking, it was very interesting. What? I'm right.
Skip the bulk of it, but it was great. You're a funny guy.
It was. So,
Robustelli, who's the other guy who's injured for Saskatchewan. But even without Robustelli and Keyshawn Johnson, you have Dante Myers, who Zach Collaros said is one of the best over-the-top receivers in the CFL. Had over 1,000 yards in just 15 games. You have Sam Amelis, who had 588 yards in just 7 games. You have Tommy Neal, who's been really big in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mitch Pickting, I remember, was on the starting roster last year and had a good season. And you have a Joe's coming in. Plus you have Keon Schaefer-Baker, who is just starting to heat up again. Yeah. So, even without 2 of their top receivers,
you're still fine.
In Saskatchewan is absolutely stacked. Yes, Keyshawn Johnson is a great receiver, right? But I would put him in the Kenny Lawler, DeMonte Coxey 50-50 ball magician. I think Dante Myers can do, and Sam Amelis can do what Keyshawn Johnson does for this team. Because with Trevor Harris, he's so bloody accurate in reading offenses that it makes a big difference. But to the comments again, the 2026 media coverage and website, etc., are going to be great for the league.
That's what I was trying to say. He did say a new website's coming. So we're excited.
The CFL website is bad, right? It's just, and getting a proper app and doing full fantasy. I can't wait to build my fantasy team next year and show Dan why I'm the self-proclaimed sports analyst.
Oh, mic drop. Do it. And I have a crazy prediction about the CFL app. Hopefully Jacob can make a little short video on that one. I have a crazy prediction that no one else has talked about. So definitely stay tuned for that.
But now let's take a look over at Montreal's receiving core. And Tyler Snead is their leading receiver with 1,129 yards this year. My pick, actually, for best receiver of the year, just because of what he can do with his speed. He's like if Tim White could catch a ball. He's really...
Who are you picking?
Really solid. You also have Tyson Philpott in just 12 games at 804 yards.
Yeah.
Who also had 6 plays for over 30 yards. Remember, he had over 200 yards the last time these two teams faced. Again, without Saskatchewan's top DBs. Austin Mack, who is listed as a game-time decision, but I would put any money on it that he's going to play.
Well, yeah.
And in 12 games, 674 yards. Cole Speaker, I don't believe he hasn't been used too much this year, but then you got Charleston Rambo, 585 yards in 17 games. And I'm really looking for potentially using Travis Tice in the passing game from the back positions. He's got great hands at 162 yards, averaging 8.5 yards per catch, right? When he was catching from the running back position. So, look, I'm going to give the advantage to Saskatchewan on this. Is the only spot too that I really wonder is where the offense is. I think Saskatchewan is deeper. I think Montreal has bigger stars. I would say, and hear me out, Dan, I would say Saskatchewan's 3rd and 4 wide receivers are better. But I would say when you look at your top 2 receivers, I think they're better in Montreal. I think Saskatchewan has 5 receivers that can really go out there. And I would say Montreal, Charleston Rambo has been super quiet in these playoffs. There's probably only Snead, Philpott, and Mack that you're really targeting a lot in the passing game, where as Saskatchewan, Tommy Neal's technically down there as your fifth receiver, and he was the first read on a game-winning play in the Western Final. So is it going to come down to the superstar wide receivers making the big play or spreading the love that Saskatchewan does? That's going to be a really interesting battle to watch. Which receiving core style is more effective?
The other thing, too, I just want to say about Tommy Neal is I was at last year's Grey Cup in Vancouver in person, and Tommy Neal did catch one of the game-winning touchdowns with the Argos that game, too, and no one really expected him to do anything. So he's known for these big Grey Cup moments, even in his young career. So
he is, absolutely. But I think it's time we get our picks in, because
you got to have a comment here.
I don't see it.
Oh, my bad.
Dan, read the comment if you think we haven't said it, because it's not coming up.
Oh, I've thought you haven't said love over the new rule changes they announced this week from Sam. Did you post that one?
Oh, I'm sorry, Sam. I missed that one.
No, that's what I say. We gotta have a comment.
The new rule changes. Yeah, so they announced those rule changes. Gosh, about 3 months ago, I guess. But he didn't make it very clear that they were not going to Americanize. What I mean by Americanize is making the field as narrow as the NFL, get rid of motion, 11 on 11 and 4 downs. He made it very, very clear that that's not happening. So yeah, I think these new rules, look, from when I've been talking to more and more fans, even outside of our show, I have gotten more positive feedback than negative on the rule. And hey, no need to apologize, Sam. Never apologize unless you did something really wrong. Like, I don't know, if you punched Dan in the weenus, then apologize to Dan.
Right there. The only thing is, it's like Sam was just not just the rule changes in general, but he's also talking about the announcements that the commissioner made this week, right? And we talked about that in previous episodes, but all great stuff for the CFL.
Like, I love how when you mentioned about the media stuff too, it's interesting. And yeah, I see you're someone else who actually likes the new rules. Yeah, but I think it's interesting too when he's talking media, and he mentioned he kind of dabbled on free agency. And this is one thing I love about Grey Cup. You never see like Gary Bettman during the Stanley Cup Finals doing an address of the league to the media. He kind of just hides in his corner. Where the CFL, you really get up close and personal with the commissioner. He even met with 150 fans one-on-one, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, talking about this, like, I think we're going to see a lot of changes where like free agency becomes a bigger media day. And there's interesting too, for the first time, the winter meetings agenda is going to be public. So we're going to be able, as us on the podcast and other media platforms, they're going to be able to actually talk about what they're talking about and see what's going on. Oh, and David says he wants Dan and Doug Ford to dance with MGK.
Hey, I love Uncle Dougie. I'm down.
But Dan, will you dance to an MGK song?
Yeah, sir. Why not?
You know what? Before we get into our picks quickly, I'm curious about your thoughts on this, Dan. Is he going to do Rap Devil?
Oh, wow.
He hasn't really gone after Eminem in a while, but I'm calling it. I think he does Rap Devil.
Whoa.
I think he does at least a verse from Rap Devil. It's his biggest song. Grab him some clippers. His freaking beard is weird.
Isn't this all about producing his new country album?
But remember, he raps on the new NF album.
Wow, that's true.
And he's going on tour, and you damn well know he's going to do Rap Devil on his tour.
Yeah, so wow, that would be amazing to see live.
Put in perspective. Kendrick Lamar, they not like us. They not like
us.
He
did the Drake this live in the Super Bowl.
And he really teased it. And NF takes a little subliminal shot at Eminem on his new EP, saying people want me to be a wannabe shady. So, do you see this potentially maybe sparking the beef again? I'm calling it. I think we're getting Rap Devil.
Boy, if that's the case, the Grey Cup may get more attention from the halftime show than the actual game. We have people in America talking about the Grey Cup in Canada, bro.
The man is, as much as, look, I'm a huge Eminem fan, but the line where he says you're trying to stand so hard you stand yourself was insane. Or the man's week of old age, the real Slim Shady can't stand up. Like, there were some good lines in that.
That was a great song.
We're getting Rap Devil tonight.
Oh, I mean, Kill Sock was an incredible comeback, but Wow.
Oh, Killshot was better than Rap Devil. I'm not denying it, but I'm saying, and yeah, more eyes on the CFL. I'm all for it. Exactly.
100%.
I think the CFL is going to tell MGK, we want you to spark some controversy here.
You know, that's why they picked him, right?
And then Eminem could come out and do Killshot. No, I'm kidding. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so. But will we see Eminem in Super Bowl again if that's the case?
Well, he is producing the Super Bowl.
That's true. Like the halftime show of Bad Bunny?
And hey, I agree with David. It would be great if we got more local artists in some of these, right?
It would be cool.
And I still wish Classified would get a would get a Grey Cup show.
Just to add to David's point, in Winnipeg, there's a whole Grey Cup week, and they had a lot of concerts from local Winnipeg artists for the Grey Cup week. We even had some Indigenous concerts going on, which was amazing. I don't know the bands directly on top of my head, but I know I was reading that. So they do have that. Like for the halftime show, you need the big name, right? But it would be cool if they had some big starting artists at the beginning of the game, for example, or something
and
like
I
that.
will say, too,
we'll have to see how the anthem plays out, too.
I will say, too, from what I've heard, Winnipeg has done a phenomenal job with the weekend. There was some controversy
100%.
going into the weekend, but they were able to secure some great space at the University of Manitoba, which I also think is a great way for people to see the University of Manitoba. I think it's a win-win.
Well, that just shows you how much the CFL was growing, right? This Grey Cup week was so big, we ran out of space. Like, that's a good sign for the CFL. Remember, Jacob, when you and I went to Hamilton with the Grey Cups in Hamilton 2 years ago, they had all of downtown Hamilton like
blocked off
for the Grey Cup.
You got rid of all the crackheads. Like, that's a talented Hamilton.
Literally, yeah, I got rid of crackheads. Like, yeah.
I feel, honestly, though, it's
great for CFL.
People struggle with things, and Hamilton is a city that, like a lot of other cities, has that problem. But before we head off, Dan, who are you taking to take this Grey Cup game?
Oh, boy. I am taking Saskatchewan for the victory here. I think David Alexander is going to get cocky. I think he's going to get his first loss. And I think the future Hall of Famer is going to make his case even stronger to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I think it's important for Trevor Harris to get a Grey Cup as a starter. So third Grey Cup win for Harris, and I don't think he's going to retire regardless. I think he's coming back next season as a 40-year-old. I guess you're going to ask me a score too, are you?
Not yet. I'm going to give sure. What's your score prediction?
No, you go ahead. I want to think about the score.
Okay, so if you remember, I attempted to pick the entire playoff prediction, and I failed
miserably.
Well, not miserably. I got half right. I got the West right.
You did.
Somewhat. I got the final of the West right on who was going to make it. I said from the beginning, Saskatchewan is winning the Grey Cup. I'm going to try to do this. I'm wearing green pants.
Oh, yeah?
Come on, Saskatchewan Rough Riders to take home the Grey Cup. Look at these. Saskatchewan green pants. So
I'm so hoping your wall doesn't fall over.
These Saskatchewan Rough Riders to win the Grey Cup this year. And I'm going to give you a score.
Okay.
Of 27-21.
Ooh.
That is the score.
Wow.
That I am going with. And hey, thank you, Sam. I appreciate that you love the passion.
Yes.
So, Dan, I said 27-21. 6-point difference.
Okay.
Reason why I'm saying 27-21 is I think Lothrop will miss an extra point. What are your thoughts, bud? What's your score prediction?
This is going to sound crazy.
And show me where are your green pants.
Well, I have red pants, unfortunately, so I don't want to show them off supporting Montreal when I said Saskatchewan. I do have green pants. I just didn't think to wear them. So good on you, Jacob. I like it. But, do what? You can't see my bottom half, so you're lucky I'm not in my underwear, because I could be like Willie Nylander, just do this whole show on my underwear. But I didn't. I did put on pants. But anyway.
Sam is saying 38-31 Riders.
Like it.
Scoring game.
Like it.
What are your thoughts, Dan? Give me your score. I've given you enough time. Hurry up.
Low-scoring game. Saskatchewan is winning 23-19.
Oh, Nelly, you're calling another close one.
I'm calling a 4-point difference because I know 4-point is weird, but when we saw the Grey Cup in Hamilton, our mom predicted 4 points and she was right. So I think Saskatchewan's going to win by 4 points.
David is taking Montreal 23-21.
Oh, 2 points. Really tight. Wow.
2 points, just like I got my 2 phones.
2 phones?
But I'm going to say on that bombshell, it is time for us to get some Kentucky Fried Chicken so we can have our Grey Cup tradition. By the way, let us know. We want to see photos of you guys watching the Grey Cup, see your snacks. Send us photos, and we'll be posting them up on the Analyst Desk social media. But thank you very much for watching at the desk today. We'll be back for a post-game show.
Yeah.
Maybe hopefully I'll be wearing a green sweater to go up my green pants. If not, I'm going to have to learn.
Yeah, why are you wearing BC orange, Will?
Okay, you cannot go wrong with the OG Air Jordans.
So I'm saying we need to talk more basketball on the decks here.
Enjoy the game. And to you
Enjoy.
too as well, Sam.
Thank you. You too,
Thank
Sam.
you very much for watching, everyone. And we'll see you back for the post game at the Analyst Desk. And remember, every day feels like game day, but there's nothing more special than Grey Cup Sunday.
Bye-bye.